Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review, episode number 83. This time I'm reviewing the 84th episode of the anime, Okanai's Feelings, Ku's Feelings. I gotta hate this episode. For the first time in a while, probably for this particular arc, this episode has had really good writing. I love the writing for this episode. Takes place in several different scenes. We have a scene with basically focus on Mitsuge talking to the girl of the group. I can't even Kira, I think her name is. Yeah, talking to her, and she's showing off various stuff in her room, and of course the interaction between her and the other three synthetic, the other three artificial, the other three guys is quite interesting. I love their dialogue, and then of course then two of them start breaking down all of a sudden. Yeah, just two of them do that. In the case of Mitsuge, after he meets with him, of course, he meets with the other people, meets up with Lord Q, and he has a really good conversation with Lord Q. Is that the reason why he's also there is to learn the secret of will, in case he has like a soul, whatever. And him and Q have had a really good conversation. Though it's also revealed in this episode that Q is also an artificial human. Yep, he is. Yeah, created from the cells of Okanai, the third Tazakage. In case you're wondering, his granddaughter does not show up in this episode at all. There's a mild reference to her once in one of the scenes, but that's really it. In the case of what's going on, there's also another thing of, Inogen talking to the Akanu, teaching him like various names, and he calls Chocho Chubbs because it's a nickname of hers. But I think that the highlight of the episode is Okanai sort of training Boruto to look for his own Heartstone. Yeah, showing going through like an actual training. Yeah, like a good montage of him looking for various things he can eat, like bugs and like whatever stuff off the land. And yeah, the reason why this is because him and Okanai accidentally wandered into an area that apparently no one from the Hidden Stone Village has used in years. Called the Senzu Plains. Which I'm like, okay, now this was actually a pretty good idea on the writer's part for Boruto to accidentally do, because I'm sure he probably needs some actual an actual experience training, which the Leaf Village is something like that. It's called the Death Village. The Death Forest. They have that. But they don't have this. And this is according to Okanai. Apparently no one's used this in years. And he talked about like how we were young. That it was time of war. He says like... And of course Boruto says like... Well... What, you like it whenever there's war around? I was like, no. I like peacetime. But the reason why he does this is because he doesn't want the young to suffer, and he believes they're weak. Okay, now in the case of Boruto, I don't... Now, this is something also... Now, Kinochi, she said the same thing in an earlier episode, not for this particular one of the episodes, saying this generation is kind of weak. In the case, the reason why I think that she thinks that because she doesn't believe in the current generation. Naruto has full faith in the generation, and... he wants these generations to succeed like their generation did. So, in the case of Okanai calling out Boruto on his like all talk thing, like he can talk the talk but can't walk the walk. Yeah, he calls him out on it, and apparently in this era, you can't use jutsu at all. Yeah, apparently all jutsu is cut off, and this whole thing is just to have real life experience. And that's brilliant. I love it. And yeah, it's just a really damn good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not a terrible episode. It's probably by far tied with probably the best. This is probably the best episode of this whole arc. And it does progress the arc really well. Like I said, Revelations. Yeah, it kind of feels like something that we should have had like a while ago for Boruto, but I'm very happy what this show has done for it. Okay, so not much else to say. Just a really damn good episode. Also, and Okanai, the reason why he's helping Boruto, because just to basically repay a debt, repaying him for saving his life. Yeah, save his life by saving him from a collapsing pillar that his artificial son did. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it looks like next week's episode looks like Shikadai's gonna show up, and he looks like he's gonna do some experimentation. Oh yeah, and also I forgot to mention that Ku knows about the curse mark. Apparently, it's an older curse mark, so he does know how to get rid of it. So it shouldn't much a problem there. And it looks like that there's a stone ninja might show up next week's episode. From look of it, it looks like I don't know if Okanai actually knows this kid or not, but yeah, we actually have stone shows up at the end of the in the preview for next week's episode, which I'm looking forward to. Next week's episode is called the Heartstone, which, yeah, this should be interesting. Yeah, this is probably the second time this whole arc that Boruto has gone through some kind of training. Yeah, first it was the steps to possibly to learn Snake Sage Jutsu, but he turns that down because he's not interested in that. Yeah, so this is the second time he's going to go through training. Hopefully he actually, yeah, he gets to learn stuff really well. Now I liked what they did with the training did with the Sage training. I think I liked that. I thought that was really nice in the case of what they did with it. And I guess that my guess is that because that particular two-parter got good reception, that's probably the reason why they're doing it again here, but doing a different style of training for Boruto. Yes, though I gotta ask, why in the world is this arc at the stretch out for the rest of the year? I don't know. I don't know what Student Pair is up to, but this episode is by far the best one of the whole arc. I mean, it's probably the best one in probably a few episodes. Yeah, so that's particularly it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my review of the 18th light novel of the High School DxD series. I'm going to finish up soon, and I'll do my review of it, okay? But to see you next review. Bye.